Hey, Frank Maverick 2 here with Wizard of Oz 2017. Now, in the Wizard of Oz 2017, the Tin Man is now called Rusty because, see Rusty? Because he drank a lot of spring water. Can you see the spring in the spring water? And he rusted. Now he also drinks fall water in the fall. And do you know where you get fall water from? Waterfalls. Did you fall for that? Anyway, his friend Scarecrow was cowardly and not a lion. I'm not lying. Rusty doesn't have the heart to tell him that the Wicked Witch, wait till you hear the west of this story, the Wicked Witch of the West, wait till you hear the west of this story. She looks at her crystal ball and she gets an idea from the crystal ball to open a Melt restaurant and sets fire to Toto so she can sell hot dogs, which will catch up with her later if she keeps monkeying around. Personally, I don't think that idea will fly. Anyway, now Dorothy and her three companions fall asleep on the job and don't see someone steal all the emeralds in the city. Thus, the poor wizard can't afford the palace anymore because of the balloon payments that keep going up and up and up. He wishes Toto was a golden retriever so he could retrieve gold for him and go to cash for gold, and then he'd have enough money to keep the palace. But he builds a smaller house out of yellow bricks just down the road. It dwarfs in comparison, but to the palace, but will keep the big bad wolf away. Oops, sorry, those are the two wrong stories, dwarves and big bad wolf. Now Dorothy is helped by some little people who give her horse donuts, but the horse doesn't munchkin on them because he dislikes that flavor since he's a horse of a different color. Dorothy wants to go home, but it was up in the air how to get her there until she read on the bottom of her shoes that the good witch named Glad to instead of Glenda, her witch's name was, the good witch was glad to help you. She could send her home if she would slip her a few rubies. Now she told Dorothy all she had to do was click on the mouse on her computer 3 times while saying, "There's no place like the home page, there's no place like the home page, there's no place like the home page." Dorothy did that and was back in Kansas again. Now Toto changed his name to Tutu and wore a skirt, a tutu, but danced around questions asking him why he did it. Tutu stayed behind, but he ate all the donuts the horse wouldn't eat, the crawlers. And he got real big, see how big he got? And his leg changed crawlers to yellow. See, he's got yellow legs because the bricks rubbed off on him when he was dragging them across the bricks. Now the flying monkeys tried to catch him again, but this time he lapped them. See, he lapped them. They say every dog has his day, but Tutu broke his tail and had a weekend. Instead of falling asleep in the poppies, this time Tutu gets sick when the witch plants tulips on him, and he decides to go to the doctor. Which doctor, you may ask? Why, Dr. Oz, of course, Dr. Oz. Now the Tin Man, Rusty, Scarecrow, and Cowardly Lion need something to do since Dorothy was gone, so they got a job in a women's clothing factory on an assembly line. But business was slow, so they got laid off. And so they decided to collect unemployment. So the Tin Man goes in and he says, "I'm here to collect unemployment." And the lady says, "What was your last job?" And he said, "I sewed women's panties." And she says, "Well, you'll collect $200 per pay." So the Scarecrow goes in And he says, I'm here to collect unemployment. She said, what was your last job? He said, I sold women's panties for on the assembly line. So she said, well, you'll get $200 per pay. So the cowardly lion goes in and he says, I'm here to collect unemployment. She said, what was your last job? He says, I was a diesel fitter. She says, a diesel fitter? I never heard of that. So she looks it up in her book, she can't find it. So she asks other people in the that work in the office, anybody know what a diesel fitter is? And they say no, but it sounds important, better pay them the maximum. So she says, okay, Lion, you'll get $800 per pay. Well, the Tin Man and the Scarecrow are furious. They go storming in the office, wait a minute, wait, how come we only get 200 and he gets 800? She says, calm down, guys. She says, you have to understand the importance of the job. She said, you sold women's panties. He was a diesel fitter. They said, do you know what a diesel fitter is? The lady says, no, not really. They said, well, we sold the women's panties. He takes them at the end of the assembly line, puts them on his head, and says, diesel fitter.
That's it.
That's it.